everyone, my name is Holly and this is my channel Make Love. Thank you so much for stopping by. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, coming on to do a little bit of a chit chat, to do a one card Divine Feminine Oracle pull here to see what's going on with the energies. It's been a little bit since I posted, which is not necessarily what I intended. Having some difficulties with uploading things on YouTube, and then I had something removed from YouTube. So it's been a little frustrating lately. And then in just making this video, it's taken me almost an hour to get to a place where I feel like I can speak coherently and get my thoughts out. It just feels like things are really jumbled lately. And you may be feeling similar. You know, there's a lot of energies, there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of conflict, there's a lot of polarity, there's a lot of divide. And in all of that, in the midst of that muck, somewhere in there, there's the reality, there's the truth. And once again, we kind of go back to this concept of allowing ourselves to be guided, and allowing ourselves to be guided from a place of spirit. You know, the spirit within us is going to be a key component of our ability to navigate what is coming, what is here now. And so, you know, the one word that's been repeatedly coming to me for several days is discernment. The ability to discern. That's not something that's taught in school. That's not something that we sometimes are even shown in our family. Oftentimes, when we practice that, it's bad, it's ridiculed, it's manipulated, and stifled. And so, this is definitely a time where we want to be exhibiting discernment. And when I say discernment, I mean the ability to be guided, the ability to be guided in a way that reflects our choices, the ability to let things speak to us. So when I think of discernment, I think of the ability for me to really know what is in my best interest and what is not, and how the true color of that, let's say the true color of that, if I allow it, right, it doesn't come from my thought process, and it doesn't come from my emotions. It comes from a deep reservoir within me that knows without necessarily, I suppose, knowing, right? It's that card, knowing without knowing, or being able to kind of read between the lines, right? Is that we get to this place where we just have that ability to be in the middle, right? The middle. Here we go. Middle again. Middle. Third eye. Spiritual portal. And so one of the things that struck me, because this was the topic that I was trying to present over the weekend, and it just was not meant to be. So let's hope that this has better success. After I made that video, I was just kind of flipping through YouTube, and I came across a video in my feed that I'd never, somebody had never followed before, and it talked about, the title was "A Man's Energy Doesn't Lie." Now, first of all, this guy is a minister, Christian-based minister. So I want to just acknowledge that. I'm going to link the video into my description box because I think it's important. So here's the thing. I know everyone has varying ideas about religion and spirituality and whatnot, and this is not to convert you, this is not to offend you, this is to present this idea of discernment in a different light that may resonate with you, may not. Up to you, right? I'm just here to provide information. You choose what you do with it. It's not meant to be offensive. It's not meant to sway people in a certain direction. I was surprised. I was surprised because usually when you stumble upon those things, it can get very religious fast. This guy is pretty matter of fact. I didn't watch the whole video, so I don't know the outcome of it. But it's a very interesting topic because he says, you know, a man's energy doesn't lie. But let's just take that to a whole nother level and say a person's energy does not lie, right? And I think that is tremendous, and that is so critical right now, is the ability to discern energy, the ability to recognize, you know, what's beyond the facade, what's beyond the chatter, because those are often not authentic, right? We talk about the mask, we talk about the fifth chakra, the throat, how so many people are not operating from a place of authenticity, that there's an agenda, you know, whether they're looking to match the facade, whether they're looking to throw shade, or they're looking to manipulate, whatever it is, it's not always from a place of honesty. It's not always a thing to be trusted. Just because somebody says it, just because somebody does it, you know, that's part of the programming that we fall into. And that's one of the things that makes us so vulnerable, is that people can tell us, show us, and we're taught to believe that, instead of relying on our discernment, instead of relying on the energy. What does the energy speak to me of, right? Does it resonate? Does it make me want to run for the hills? Does it feel honest? Does it feel truthful? Does it feel supportive? Does it feel familiar? Does it feel dangerous? Does it feel unsettling? Does it make me uncomfortable? And I think this is just so important right now, because we're seeing so many things unfolding, because there's so much chaos and conflict. It's really easy to allow all of that to infiltrate our ability to tease out what is what. And I think this is just crucial, is that if we're relying on our discernment, if we're relying on our intuition, if we're relying on our spirit to support and guide us, to communicate with us, and to allow ourselves to trust that what comes up comes from a place of depth, breadth. And it's there for a reason. And just, you know, it's much like, you know, the flip side of the reptilian brain, the ego. You know, the ego is designed to protect us, but it's designed to protect us with its own agenda. The spirit is designed to protect us and inform us from a place without an agenda. And I think that's a very different thing, is can you discern the difference between what is the reptilian brain and what is the spirit? And which do you trust? Which do you put value in? And so this is just, I just want to continue to say, like, this is so critical for what is happening, is can we allow our intuition to guide us? Can we allow ourselves to practice discernment? Can we allow ourselves to not get caught up in the chaos and conflict that makes it harder for us to use discernment? Can we be mindful of energies around us? Can we recognize and honor what doesn't do right by us and what does? And then make that selection on what you want to invest in, what you want to put attention and time towards, what you want to focus on. Again, I know I've been saying that repeatedly, but I just think it continues to be a very important piece of where we're at in this universe, and how this is such a critical skill to have right now. Because again, you know, people, as I said in my video last week, people will throw shade, people will play the game, people will create the illusion, people will talk out of both sides of their mouth, people will wear the mask. And are you going to be able to see beyond that and really get to that energetic core piece of like, does this sit right with me? Is what's being said, true and honest? And I think that's a really hard thing to get skilled at, to feel comfortable at, because we're always underestimating ourselves. We're always questioning ourselves. We have such a hard time trusting ourselves. These are the things that are going to beef that up, is by listening, by paying attention, by honoring, by respecting, and by valuing this. And eventually, right, the more you do this, the more you trust what comes up for you. And that is phenomenal, right? And that is when you really realize, oh, everything that I need is actually within me. And how that is kind of that's where the wisdom is. That is the biggest kind of piece that's been missing for so many of us when we got disconnected from our true self, from our spirit. And so I just feel like it's a phenomenal message to continue to say to you guys, because my discernment, it feels very heightened right now. I feel like my bullshit meter is very aroused, is very alert to what's going on, and it has no time for it anymore. And I can see a lot of people using tactics to further prevent people from seeing the true self that they are, or the darkness within them that they haven't necessarily addressed. It's interesting. When I was doing my video on Saturday about this, I was saying, like, whenever I go out, I can see, well, I guess I want to say I can sense, that's a better word. I can sense and see evil. There's evil around that is trying to stray you from your path, your divinely guided path. I mean, isn't that kind of what the programming did? The programming was designed to stray us from becoming our best selves. It was designed to stray us from our spiritual self. Because if we knew we had the power within, we could be anything. We wouldn't be enslaved to a governmental system based on taxes and wages and productivity and the financial gain that inevitably doesn't necessarily benefit you but everybody else above you. You wouldn't be relegated to the life that you're living and what it's supposed to look like and be like. You would be able to create anything and everything, and there's liberation and freedom in that. And so these systems were designed, to disconnect us from all that we could be. And that, right, is evil. When people enslave us, when people disconnect us from our true self, that make us question, our individuality, that we're designed to kind of, it's that card by the book that I see in my wisdom oracle, where we have to do everything a certain way, and it doesn't allow anything that is non-conformist without creating some kind of disruption. So it's huge, and I'm just really, even in what I do, and in the people that I work with, I can see it and I can hear it. With all that unfolded, all that's unfolded since COVID, all that's unfolded with the election, all that's unfolded with the DC events here, there are some pretty radical ideas of other human beings, and I don't know how many times I've heard people say to me things that just totally like blow my mind away, that I can't even comprehend, that I'm hesitant to say that I would even say to my worst enemy, you know, like the people that are said to me because I was against wearing the mask. Well, I hope you get COVID and die. Who says that? Who says that? And then tells me, you know, that there's somebody that's spiritual, or that there's somebody that believes in love and light, that they're religious, that they go attend church services, or they donate to a charity, whatever it is, that they think that they're a do-gooder, and then turn around and say that. Or somebody that says to me, like, you know, anybody that supports the current administration needs to die, needs to be obliterated off this earth, shouldn't exist. There's all kinds of really wild shit happening. And the fact of the matter is that is the shadow, right? That is the evilness that's coming out, that's continuing to support this judgment, that's continuing to support labeling and ostracizing people for just being different. Because the programming now has really ramped up to keep people in order, to continue to go with this big reset that we talk about, or the New World Order, whatever it is. So the programming is intensifying, and it's desperate to find those people that don't want to free think, that want to be told what to do and how to do it, when to do it, blah, 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 blah. And so anybody that's outside of that is the enemy, is a threat. And anybody outside of the programming is like, actually, you're the problem, right? You're the barrier to my liberation. You're the barrier to us living more harmoniously. It's been reversed. And it's just a really wild ride to be on and to see unfold, when people so brainwashed, so tremendously brainwashed, and so tremendously trying to hold on to this old normal, right? There's no old normal. The old normal crumbled last year, but still so desperate to hold on to this, or that they don't know how to create their own inner security and stability. So they're looking for somebody else, right? Like that's part of why we had to do so much work before now. That they continue to rely on somebody else to give that to them, which is an illusion. So there's just so many wacky things coming through right now. Yeah, I'm gonna keep shuffling here and see what comes up. There's way more that I want to be saying, but I'm just gonna keep it still until I can really work it out in a way that feels right for me. All right, so what do we have here? Just one card, please. Where are we in the collective? Yeah. Looks like she's a mermaid. Yemoja. $194. Okay. So holy cow. Okay. So Yemoja, the goddess of all that flows. I am an ocean of creative energy. I give birth to what exists within me. So she represents the creative force of the unconscious, the secret depths that bring the unseen into the physical realm. Yemoja creates a flow where before there was a block or stagnation in our life force. When we feel uninspired or stuck in life or in a creative endeavor, Yemoja is the feminine essence that sets our energy back in motion. She is a mermaid. As a mermaid, she exists both in the world and also in the unseen depths. She can help us dive deep. She can help us dive down deep into the unconscious or into the collective unconsciousness and retrieve the hidden secret to the wise pearls that we need to integrate now for our life to flow again. She baptizes us to start over, to begin again right now, to let everything become brand new. She encourages us to use water as a ritual to send out our offerings to her, to bless our bodies in a warm bath, or to walk along a body of water and allow its perspective to give us the answer or blessing we seek. Yemoja wants to cleanse us of the thoughts that are holding us back. So I think that's really huge too, is that, once again, we're going back to what exists within me, right? What we were saying with the spirit, the portal, the discernment, the ability to acknowledge the energy from somebody or an energy of the situation or energy around you, and to discern, that idea, like energy doesn't lie. What is this telling me? Is this validating what's coming up for me? Is this something that I want to invest in? Is this something that I need to remove myself from? Because we can't trust people's words. We can't trust people's facade. We can't trust the visual appearance of folks. We can't trust what they say. We can't always trust their actions are coming from a place of integrity, that are coming from a place of honesty, that are coming from a place of good, coming from a place of love and healing. So this is all unfolding, right? And I think this is just an important reminder that, we are energy. We are energy, and we have so much that exists within us that is going to be able to discern this energy, that's going to be able to support, what we're participating in and contributing towards. So just be, ongoing, being mindful of, are you able to read other people's energies? And when you do that, are you able to honor what you come up with as a result? Or are you going to dismiss it, right? Because many of us have learned to dismiss. And I think that's been the biggest obstacle for me as of late. And I kind of touched upon it a week or so ago, that, my biggest obstacle is that I didn't honor myself. I didn't listen to myself. I allowed myself to be misguided. I allowed myself to not listen to the energy that spoke to me, to once again, and I think this is my pattern. This is my pattern oftentimes when I'm in that situation or circumstance of abuse, is that for whatever reason, the tactic that they use completely overrides my knowing, completely overrides my ability to honor my discernment. And so I think there's definitely that link there, that whenever I've been in that situation, it isn't that I was completely oblivious to it. I had the warnings. I had my radar was going off, and for whatever reason, and there's a variety of reasons, but for whatever reason it is, I chose to ignore it. I chose to dismiss it. Whatever it was, whether it was the person was saying something repetitively to me, or knew my complete vulnerability and area of weakness and used that to gain more influence over me. I don't, it's going to be individual to each situation, but I think, my biggest road block that I've been really grappling with and sitting with and picking apart and trying to get a better understanding so that I don't recreate that ever again, is paying attention to what comes up and slowing it down enough so that my first impulse is to be like, whatever, that's that, right? I mean, we're told that oftentimes the things that come up are from past, and oftentimes that's not where it's happening in the now. But that flag, right, is there for a reason. That flag is to slow us down and to say, hey, what's up with this, right? Like, where's this coming from? Let's just pay attention to this and assume it's true, assume it's real, assume that there's some sustenance and substance behind it, and let's be cautious. So I think, that's just a great reminder of where we really need to be at this junction. So guys, thank you so much.